Okay, now the controls in WWE All-Stars is your standard wrestling controls where it's A and B to do your different grapples like heavy and light grapples, and X and Y just to do your heavy and light attacks. And it's a simple little control scheme, and it works for most games, just like this kind of game. And it just works, not much else to talk about except it works. It really does. The button placements are fine. Controls are good. I mean, they're not very different from anything else. You can reverse moves with the RB. You can run with the RT. There you go. There's the controls. The controls are really good. They have been for a little while. So, hey, if it's broke, don't fix it. For wrestling games I'm talking about, of course. Anyway, there you go. Let's go on to the sound. Alright, now the sound in the game is also really good, I think at least, because the sound effects are very arcadey, cartoony, but that's perfect for this game because it's very arcadey and cartoony. So, I mean, realistic sound effects wouldn't make sense in this game. So the sound effects are definitely right for this game, and I actually like the sound effects. The commentary is very nostalgic because it's JR and the King, which I love those two. I mean, when I was watching wrestling, I enjoyed the hell out of their commentary in that, and in this, they're great. The soundtrack itself is also amazing because you get to hear a whole bunch of old Titantron songs like Undertaker's, The Rock's, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's awesome. I really do think so. So overall, the sound is great. I really did enjoy the sound. So let's go on to the graphics of the game. Okay, now the graphics in this game are actually really good. I actually really enjoy looking at these graphics. They're very vibrant, very colorful, and I love how the character models for all the wrestlers look. They look really cool. They definitely look like action figures, which I think definitely adds to the game because it's a very over-the-top game, and, if they look like action figures, then it makes sense, and I really do think the graphics are really nice. Now, the environments, not that great. They look okay, and the crowd, of course, looks like shit. But, the character models is really what this game's for. Every wrestling game always has good character models, and in this one, they took it over the top, and they did it perfectly. People have big jaws, big freaking arms, big biceps, and, they look kind of hot. I mean, they look great, they look cool. Anyway, graphics are good, and let's go on to the gameplay. Okay, now the gameplay for WWE All-Stars is your standard wrestling game where you can punch, you grab, you grapple, you do different moves, you do somersaults, loop-de-loops, you jump off the turnbuckle, you get a weapon, you beat the crap out of enemies, and you get a 1-2-3 count, you win the match. It's a simple old wrestling game. Now, the thing that the developers did differently with this wrestling game is that they pretty much said, you know what wrestling is right now? It's way too realistic. So we're going to make it really freaking cartoony and arcadey, and I think it worked for the most part. I thought this game was a hell of a lot of fun. I'm just going to say it right there, but I don't think it's as insane as it should have been. It should be more like NBA Jam where every freaking move is something insane. You're watching gameplay now, and every signature move I do or every finisher is like a over-the-top move, but everything else is just punches and kicks. Sure, they're over-animated and stuff, so they look arcadey, but I think it should have went way more insane. I think it should have went just freaking out of this world insane. So anyway, I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this game. But I'm going to say it right here. I do think this is only a rental and not worth a purchase. You know why? Because there's not that much content here. You get a few game modes. Of course, you get Exhibition, which you just go in, you do a bunch of different game modes like 1 versus 1, Tag Team, which is 2 versus 2, a Steel Cage match, which is you have to get out of the steel cage around the ring, like a hardcore match, which you could just use weapons and stuff. Sure, that's fun, but that's all computer controlled, so you just fight a computer, or if you have a friend over, you can fight a friend. Of course, it has Xbox Live, but I think the Xbox Live is good. I just don't think the community is going to be there after a couple weeks. I think people are going to move on to different games, and this game's not going to have a big community. So I think the Xbox Live is good, just not, something that's going to make people come back and stuff. Okay, now the other two game modes, the first one is called Path of Champions, which pretty much is the single-player experience of the game, where it's pretty much a gauntlet match where you just go through 10 matches, you go all the way through, and then right when you're done with those 10 matches, you fight the main character of whatever one you're picking, because there's a couple of them you could pick, and, it's fun, but it's the same thing as Exhibition mode. You just fight off against the computer, and it's not really all that different, really. And the other game mode is called Fantasy Warfare, where it's actually a really cool mode. I just think you could do this anytime in Exhibition mode, too, where you just take a legend who is really good at a specific kind of fighting style, like grappling, let's say. He's really good at grappling. And you take a current superstar right now that's really good at grappling, and you make them fight off, which is really cool. And there's about 10, 15 of those you can do. Really cool. Just, Still, you could do this in exhibition mode. The only difference between exhibition mode and these two modes that I just talked about is that you get achievements and you can unlock different characters, which is, if you unlock different characters, sure, that's kind of cool, but there's no other big difference. You don't get to do any different kind of game modes that is only specific in these two game modes themselves. It's just beat the crap out of people and beat the crap out of people. There's no mini games. There's no different kind of beat the crap out of people except steel cage, which you just beat the crap out of people and run up a cage, or beat the crap out of people with weapons. And it's the same thing, but it's still. I know it sounds like I'm bagging on the game. I do think this is a very fun game. I really did like it, and I think you should check it out. But just don't pay for it. It is fun, just not all that fantastic. I like the game. Check the description for the full written review, or the written review, I'm sorry, not full written review, and the score. Thank you and goodbye.